Richard Baud asked me, what do I think of the Orville? I haven't seen any of it, Richard. I've seen probably 2 minutes of clips. I don't know how funny it is. It's better than Star Trek Discovery because anything is better than Star Trek Discovery. Star Trek Discovery it makes the Star Wars prequels look like, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Every single thing in Star Trek Discovery is wrong. Everything is wrong. It's 100% wrong. And it's not set in the far future either, where at least you could at least find some way to deal with it. It's 10 years before Kirk and the Enterprise. And the Federation has ships with square engine nacelles. And the bridge, the whole saucer dish turns around whenever they want to make a margarita or something. I don't know what that thing does exactly. And the Klingons are completely different. And the uniforms make them look like bellhops at a really bad hotel in Istanbul, and they're just plain horrible. It's just a catastrophe. Nothing but social engineering and nothing but lecturing and so on. And Star Trek had the decency to teach you things with a story without bashing you over the head of it. Did they already get? Bone Canoe said that they've already been renewed for a second season. Maybe they've got the audience. I suspect that the criticism has been so intense that they're just basically doing it just to not let the other side win. And George Freeland says that's what they torpedoed Axanar for. There's a movie. There are hundreds of fan films out there, and there's a couple, we've talked about these before. There's some Star Trek fan films, especially Star Trek Continues, I think that's the name of it, that is so good. It's like watching episodes of the original series. I'm not in love with the writing in terms of their social justice warrior aspect of it, but in any event, the guy looks like Kirk, and the sets are the same exact sets that they had the original. They use the same blueprints. They're brilliant. The special effects are exactly the same. The props look like they were made by Jeffries just a couple days ago. They've got it down. It's perfect. And those people were allowed to make those movies because they were, I don't know where they're based. Maybe they're in Los Angeles. It might be in Texas or something. But one of these fan films called Star Trek Annexar, I never get that name right. They made a trailer for it, and I've got a pretty good friend in that movie, a guy named Gary Graham, who's played a Vulcan ambassador on a number of different occasions. And this thing was using real actors. It was using, oh my God, how can I not remember this? Walter Koenig, who played Chekhov on the original show. He's in it. I think if I haven't got my wires crossed, no, that's a different thing. But anyway, there's some major stars in it, and it looked better, much better than Star Trek Discovery, and it was much more interesting. It's dealing with the same period of time, exact same period of time, about 10 years before Captain Kirk, and it's about Garth of Izar, who's in the original series. He's portrayed as he's in a mental institution in the original series, but Kirk worships him. Everybody worships him because 10 or 15 years before Kirk became captain, this guy named Garth of Izar pulled out a miracle at this battle of Axanar, and Richard Hatch and a bunch of other people. And so it's consistent. And the ships they had looked like the kind of ships you would have a generation before the TV Enterprise. It was fantastic. Just great. Better in every single way. And CBS and Paramount killed it. They basically, of all the times, I've never seen a studio step up and stop a fan film before, but they stopped that one. And they had about $1 million budget too, and that was also a threat to them. But I think the main reason they stopped it was because Axanar is just orders of magnitude better than Discovery. I just want Discovery to be taken out in a yard and buried, someplace where nobody knows where it is. Have some blind person bury it, or put out the eyes of somebody, or cut off their tongues and ears, and just make sure that no one ever finds this horrid, horrid, awful thing, which is simply, it's unbearable. So that's what I thought about the Orville. Richard, sorry about that. All right.